recording, start streaming. There, it's going, and the stream is... yeah, there it goes. Alright, we are live.
Excellent.
I have to re-roll that 0?
Alright then. Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting chapter in Big Trouble in Little Emyprean. Part 2. I have no dice, but I must roll.
Oh no.
That was completely cheesy.
Is that a reference?
Well, I hate to be the one, but I did tell you I was going to be making 80s references and whatnot the entirety of the campaign.
I don't remember you saying that.
That was a
Oh,
reference
I-
to an old sci-fi novel.
I remember this. That was like the selling point for the game for me. It's just like, oh, there's gonna be lots of 80s references. Done. Okay, I'm in.
Alright. Now then, who would like to do the recap? I believe somebody had a certain special thing they had prepared.
Yes, that would be me, actually.
Alright. If you would.
The following is an after-action report for IRPF contract EMP 01187. As of the filing of this report, the situation on the Empyrean has been resolved. Officers Avsi and Vehi, with contracted assistance from Dr. Reese Lucifer, Nusig, Gimon Hearth, were able to positively identify the perpetrator in a string of ritualized homicides as Percival, a high-ranking official in the Empyrean hierarchy. Suspect was confronted during an attempt on the life of one Chief Dark Sky. An attempt to apprehend the suspect was made, during which a struggle ensued. Suspect Percival was slain during the struggle in an extrajudicial killing by assault victim Dark Sky. Motivation for the multiple homicides has been confirmed as a revenge plot by the perpetrator, whose significant other and mentor was killed during an assignment given by a council, the council consisting of the victims. It is the recommendation of the reporting officer that an investigation be performed into the inciting incident, with prosecution pursuant to the fullest extent of the Empyrean's law. It is also the recommendation that an investigation be performed into the extrajudicial killing of suspect and perpetrator Percival, so as to avoid any untoward diplomacy in the following days. Reporting Officer Daxon Vehi, signing off.
Nice. I like it.
Thank you very much. The gist of that, to clarify a few points for those who may not have quite understood exactly. Last time we left our heroes, they found the murderer responsible for the killings. It was their, at least was, friend, Sir Percival, who was taking vengeance for Lancello's death. At the, who he blamed for was the council, who had ordered him to leave for the longbow. Unfortunately, this resulted in his death, and now they are currently aboard the Rust Bucket once more with one Wesley Bolt. He has finally given his name, having seen their successful duties, and made reference to a possible job opportunity in the future through one of his contacts, as well as some of the others on the Empyrean having given some few possible job contacts later. As it stands, though, for the past few days, while you've been on this cargo ship, you've been bouncing between Outer Rim space stations and it's getting a bit tiresome, but you are steadily making your way back. It is, of course, along largely known spacer channels. Those of you who've been on ships before know that he's keeping more or less in line with known pathways and fairly well-guarded pathways through space. Excuse me. That said, since as time has gone on, more and more cargo has been dropped off from the ship, you have found it easier to move around and a far more pleasant experience. Also, admittedly, the nice seating and a few other amenities he had installed between your drop-off points has made things significantly more pleasant. Having actual bedrolls is a nice change. And while there's still no gravity, hey, at least you can strap yourselves into bed and don't have to worry about bumping into each other while you float.
Also, Mars coast seats can get you from point A to point B, but never comfortable.
Well, at least I have the spacer background, so I'm used to all this nonsense.
That said, you awaken to another day in space. This time, Wes has had the windows rolled up for you so that you can actually see. Artificial windows, but the point is still there. However, Wes's behavior seems different than normal. He's quieter. He doesn't greet you and tossed you the regular granola bars he has been for breakfast. His body language is tense. He hunches over the controls and snarls something you can't quite make out. Pushes a few more buttons and continues to stare pointedly angrily at the controls and out the front window view screen.
I kind of look up to Wesley and say, "Is there something wrong?"
Maybe, maybe not. But these readings, these reports, I don't like it. One damn bit.
Want me to take a look at it?
Oh, I don't... Wait a minute. Y'all are IRPF, right?
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah, I am.
Not really.
Come here, then. To you, I need you over
Yeah,
here,
okay.
cops. Tell me if I'm wrong on this. And he points to a screen by his right hand. These readouts, they seem like IRPF chatter to you?
Well, do they?
As you look at the view screen, you very rapidly understand those codes. You've seen these before, in the spacer especially. This isn't just IRPF chatter, this is IRPF chatter about pirate and bandit activity. It's more infrequent these days, but when it happens, it can be even more vicious than it used to be. They have to, in order to get what they want and get out. Apparently, something stirred up some of the local illegal activities. They're not only more aggressive, but they seem like they're looking for something. The coding and readouts don't clarify exactly what, and far too much of it is going in and out, but you've gotten the gist. The attacks are on known lanes, not just out in the boonies, but on main space lanes too.
Looks like pirate activity. Bold, too.
Did you say pirates?
Yes,
Yes.
pirates.
Which kind? The kind where they take our stuff, or the kind where they kill us and then take our stuff?
It's more of the killing, taking our stuff.
It's hard to say. One thing I don't like, that bit about being on the main runs. Hell no, I don't like that. This rig is a lot faster than I gave it credit. But she's not equipped for combat. I've got one turret. I ain't got no damn hope of running off pirates. That's why I've been keeping to the main lines. As long as I stay on the road, we shouldn't have had any problem. But this... we might have to go off the beaten path, so to speak.
Where's the closest port?
That's just it. Take a look at the map. He points to another screen above his head. As a spacer, you readily identify you're nowhere near any safe passage.
So in the line, so out of character. The lines that we're going in is rather decent, but the next couple lines you're saying is giant fucked.
No. You're misinterpreting.
Okay.
The problem is, you're on a main space channel. Think of it as being on a main thoroughfare or highway. It's a known road. Cops tend to be on the road. They tend to patrol it fairly regularly. You usually don't have to worry too much. The problem is, even in that case, you'll have vast stretches of the road be largely empty except for the one truck. For miles on end. Potentially for hours. That's usually not an issue because there's rest stops in between and whatnot, and most people aren't stupid enough to go for the big trucks. That said, space is probably a little bit different from that.
So what you're telling me is we're stuck in the space version of Wyoming.
Mm-hmm. In between rest stops. In between gas stations. Wesley turns from his controls to look at you all. The closest place we have to hide out, it's a gravesite. You know, for ships.
Interesting. I would think that that sort of place would attract a lot of negative elements.
Well, see, that's just it. Usually they do, but... see, most of these kind of drift. They don't have an established orbit. And the lanes, you know, they shift according to where the planets are aligned, all that stuff. Where the space stations are currently at in their orbit around the sun. But most of these ship graves, they tend to not be affected by it in the same way. With their mass changing, the ships being pulled in and out, asteroids tearing it all apart, meteorites, you know, with all that whatnot going on, half the time these places get torn up before anything of value can really be salvaged, and the other half of the time, as any good salvager knows, they'll sit there for decades untouched by basically anything. And the only people who are crazy enough to get out here are, well, salvagers, pirates, smugglers, and the occasional IRPF patrol. Everybody else steers clear.
Which, to be blunt, is why the IRPF doesn't patrol these locations generally.
It's not. Suddenly, a red flashing light appears on his console. Shit. Shit fucking. He begins to release a series of epitaphs, some of which you swear you haven't heard since your great-grandmother, and others you've never heard before, all of which curl your ears and your hide. Well, I have good news and bad news. Good news, I've done salvage runs, so I know my way around this kind of place. Bad news, we've got pirates. Somebody get on the guns, if you would. Whoever's the best shot, get on there, now.
I'll get the turret.
Roger.
The rest of you, get into the space suits I've got set up in the lockers. If you don't, you're gonna be dead if we go down.
Great.
I'm beginning to dislike space travel more and more.
Get used to it.
By the way, Ceci says, and like stops herself before she floats out of the combat. You have a license for that turret, yes?
Are you kidding me? I designed the damn thing. Of course I have a license for it.
Okay.
Look, I know you're doing standard RPF procedure, but I think our lives are more important than standard procedure.
Besides, the certificate can always be produced. You don't need it right now.
For once, I agree. Daxon's gonna go and get suited up.
Same, and then I'll make my way to the turret.
Well, Dr. Lucifer is getting stood up as well.
As you do, you find that Lucifer's helmet actually fits. It seems that Wes had taken into account that he had a big head. It's a little bit bulky and a little bit wonky looking, but it'll work.
Well, that's considerate.
Very.
But the alternative would be Saw.
Yeah, sorry,
Or
we have to cut your horns off in the middle of this firefight because you need a spacesuit.
Or a dead passenger. And either way, none of that's gonna look good on a report.
Mm-hmm.
Especially a report filed by a grumpy hyena.
Now then, very quickly, you can see that there's more than one ship headed your way. None of them are very large,
Oh, boy.
but you can immediately tell they're essentially engines with guns attached to them. They're meant to be fast, hit hard, and get out of there.
So hidden runners.
Guerrilla tactics.
By the look of it, yeah. Don't have the resources for a sustained engagement.
But they won't friggin' need it. I'm gonna take us in. Hopefully you'll never have to fire a shot and I can just outfly these stupid bastards. I
Oh my
hope
God,
you...
I'll believe it when I see it. Prove me wrong.
Alright, Newsig, if you'd be so kind.
Yes.
I need you to make a couple rolls for me. Basically attack rolls. As if you were firing a standard gun.
Okay, so I'm guessing the difficulty is 2, which is the standard gun.
Mhm.
I have a mind of 3, so that would be 1d8, 1d10. And then I add my ranged combat, I think? No, the proficiency is...
Ranged attack bonus.
No, that's for
No,
damage.
that's for damage. Okay, hold on. I rewrote down the changes. Okay, so difficulty of 2 based off of my range combat score, so 2d10 plus the weapon's accuracy bonus.
Which we won't worry about.
And ranged combat.
No, that just that you don't add that anymore.
Yes.
Don't?
No, it was in the changes. That just determines the difficulty.
No,
really?
no. Your body stat determines the difficulty.
Not anymore.
Your mind stat and attacks work like normal checks do. Uses the ranged combat and CQC proficiencies for range and melee attacks respectively. Your roll also adds the weapon's accuracy score as a bonus. So attacking at range is a mind combat difficulty 2 check.
So the way it has been.
Compare your difficulty to your mind stat. From that you get your dice. And then the 2 dice, whatever it is, plus ranged, plus normally the weapon's accuracy score.
So yeah, you
Damn
do
it.
you do add your ranged attack bonus.
No,
Okay, let me just
the
fix my
ranged
notes.
attack bonus is something different, and that gets only added on
Oh.
to damage.
Yeah.
Okay, so difficulty of 2 versus a mind stat of 3, so 1d8, 1d10 plus 4 for ranged combat.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
Okay. Alright, and I'll need one more of that, and then I should know kind of what we're looking at here. Okay. Alright then. Now where the hell did I put the thing? Alright.
Space.
Very funny.
Okay, just to double check, Tygon, you were referring to the details on page 197, right?
Yes. Under attacks.
Nusig put up a hell of a fight. You haven't seen someone be able to use something they've never shot before in their lives so effectively in a long time. Unfortunately for him, there were just too many. He took down a couple of the ships, crippled them, mostly by targeting their engines first, making them dead in the water and forcing them to retreat. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. Eventually, they were able to get a bead on the turret and take it out. Luckily, sitting inside of it wasn't actually required, but sitting at the controls still caused a jolt of feedback. Nusig isn't injured, but that does make the situation far more dire.
Damn it. Sorry, boss.
Everybody
Yeah.
dies. New
Alright.
characters.
Oh, okay.
That's alright. I've got him where I want him. For the rest of you, you've been viewing the fight through the screens. Wes, whether through negligence or some perverse sense of voyeurship, left the windows up, so you were able to see Nusig's firing and battle with the pirates, as well as the admittedly fancy flying of the Gecko. You have found yourselves been weaving through derelict ships and shattered pieces of hull, stone and space dust. He's leading them on a merry chase, and successfully gets another 2 of the ships to ram into something. Not necessarily crippling them, but getting him off his tail. Unfortunately, he still has another 3 on him. Well, I hope you officers don't mind, but I do have something that I don't have a license for on this rig. But considering it's gonna save our lives, you mind if I use it?
Go for it.
We'll talk about it later. Don't worry about it.
I hoped you say that. All right.
Sorry, was just gonna say. Cecily has enough troubles staying in place, and grumbling something about just having gotten used to use her feet to hold onto stuff.
Mines deployed. Suddenly you see a trio of fairly small electronic red barrel-looking things pop out of the back end. They seem harmless enough until one of the ships pass close by. The explosion is easily 2 times too large for something that small. Either it's overcharged, or there's probably something fairly illegal inside of it. What's left of the ship is just the nose as it continues to hurtle through space. Eat that shit, you son of a bitch! Unfortunately...
Jackson's eyebrows raise somewhat, but he says nothing.
Unfortunately, the ship rocks as several beads of fire slam into its side. Oh, god damn it. However, it seems that the remaining pirates' vessels are peeling away, leaving the rust bucket to limp on its own through space. I'm gonna have to inspect the damage, but if they hit what I think they did, we might have to send out a distress beacon and hope nobody gets a hold of it aside from friendlies. That I doubt.
Out here? I doubt it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That said, we're more or less in the clear. Wait a minute. Get out of those seats. Get over here. You're gonna want to see this.
Alright.
Alright.
What now?
I don't know if to thank our stars or curse fate. I got a readout on the board here.
What have we
There's a
got?
ship out there. It's active.
Pirate headquarters? We might want to be careful.
No. It's emergency powering. You can tell by its energy readings. It's not nearly high enough to be fully active. And if it was stealthing, we wouldn't have even seen the damn thing. This is a derelict with power still.
Why do I get the sense this isn't what's supposed to be?
I don't know. Some of those Moscow ships are really hard to put down. I mean, at least from what I've heard.
Exactly. But there's no known Marsco or any style of ship like that that's been out here for decades. Ain't nothing of this size anyway. Here, look. We can see it now. Sure enough, a massive hulk comes into view as the debris clears. My God. Do y'all know what this ship is?
Sorry, no.
Can I roll protocol? I don't know.
Would this be a
I'll
history check?
Yes, technically it would be a history check.
So mind protocol?
I would also accept logic.
Oh.
Daxum, because you have Spacer, you would get a +1 bonus on this.
Yay. What's the difficulty?
This is a 2. It's
So
not actually that hard to figure out what it is. It's just, the character might not believe what they're seeing.
Okay, so
So I have
it's stat or perceive?
You know what? No, Cecily doesn't really know much about space travel. I'm not gonna roll for that.
It's the stat.
Okay.
You're
So
recalling something.
I'd
So
like
I
to
have-
use my boon to lower the difficulty to, or not the difficulty, the success.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Well,
you
then.
you don't laugh like that about a bad roll.
Well, Jackson definitely doesn't believe
You
what he's saying.
roboted that laugh real bad.
So I roll a d8. Well, no, I have a logic in 2, so my mind's set 2. I roll a 1d8, 1d6, plus 2, plus 2.
Wait, is your mind score only 1?
Oh, 2.
So then you'd 1d8, 2d8, plus your logic of whatever.
Ooh!
Hey!
Alright.
Not bad.
Reese
Finally.
is the first one to know it. Even though he still barely believes it himself. Daxon, you're so flabbergasted at the sheer idea of it, you don't believe it at all. Until someone else verifies it. Music isn't quite sure what's going on. Reese and Wesley say it at the same time. It's the Van Bruin. Dr. Lucifer knows, and will recall, the Van Bruin was originally going to be a new ASR flagship, equipped with multiple AI, the single largest in its class, a completely new idea. Equal parts research vessel, combat vessel, and cruise liner. It was gonna be everything. A literal corp nation city. Something along those lines in a ship. Practically a space station in and of itself. But no blue sky here. An actual ship. It went missing years and years ago. People chalked it up to pirate activity, sabotage. No one really knew exactly why. It was a huge PR bomb. ASR took almost a decade to finally recover from that. They lost a lot of good people and a lot of money.
Why is the Van Bruin here?
Hell if I know. But that thing had energy cells that would have lasted till the freaking sun went down. I'll bet you anything we can get what we need to repair this bucket and get the hell out.
Not to mention mark the location.
Exactly. And trajectory, if we get enough information on this damn thing, not only will we be rich, we'll be safe.
Did you say safe?
You see, the problem with a lot of pirate vessels is they don't have the registrations on IRPF classified and whatnot ships. Anything that doesn't run under the numbers gets flagged. That system was used in the guns on the Van Bruin. Pirates can't get close. As soon as they would have, the guns would have gone off. That is, if they're still operational. And they have no way of knowing that unless they get in within distance.
So
No,
we're going to
if-
steal the ship?
Or just use it as safe harbor until we can get away.
Exactly. don't believe for a second I can pilot that damn bucket on my own. Look at the size of it. It'd need at least 7 pilots to run it properly, unless they're having the AI do most of it, which I wasn't working on anything that size. I was just a kid when this stuff happened. I barely recall it.
Not to mention an engineering crew of hundreds, if not thousands.
Exactly. There's a reason why this damn thing's a legend.
Dr. Lucifer is going to look at the Van Buren as seeing the emergency lights on. He starts having an idea. If the Van Buren was supposed to be all of that, why is it on emergency power?
Well, I mean, it's been a long time.
Likely systems decay.
Well, it's not just system decay. Do you really think the personnel are still alive on that thing? After all these years?
I don't think so.
The originals? No. I'm worried about current crew.
If there's any left, let alone the passengers. There's a
Or-
lot of crazy stories out there for this one, and a few of them I almost believe.
It
But
could
if
be
we're
the
gonna make it out-
AI.
It could be the AI still running things as if nothing changed. It's hard to tell until we get there. But we're on the registry. My numbers are old. It would still recognize them. The bucket's been flying for at least as long as that thing was in development. So it would know the bucket's numbers. Hopefully. If not, well, we'll be as dead as the pirates would be. Either way, this is our only shot. He flips up a readout on one of the other consoles. See that? They hit one of our engines. We're limping here, and we're leaking power fast. Unless I can get this to safe boring and do actual repairs on this damn thing, we wouldn't make it to the next station. We'd be dead either way. So,
Yeah, we hear you. I don't like the odds, but it's better than no odds.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. Not to mention curiosity.
it's a gamble. But we're going in.
I mean, heck, even if we can make it back to the location of this thing, that's a promotion right there.
Promotion? Shit, that could be retirement.
He's not wrong.
He isn't wrong, but if we do look at the location, I believe ASR would have a huge depth. Yeah, ASR would have something to owe us for this.
Yep, so it's settled then.
If they
We'll go-
don't pay us just to shut us up.
Well, it's settled then. We'll go there. We'll get the coordinates locked down. Try and estimate whether it'll have any drift or movement. Get the shit fixed. Get back. And collect. And most importantly, don't touch anything.
Slowly, the ship eases closer and closer to the massive hulk of the Van Bruin. As you get nearer to it, you realize the sheer scope of this thing. Easily the size of a blue sky station. It's a
I guess-
phenomenon of engineering. It's also very clearly damaged. Even from this distance, you can see it. Slowly, the bucket makes its way towards it, and sure enough, old Rusty makes it through. No alarms, no gunfire, no drones. An easy slide to the docking bay. Eventually, Wes is able to find one that's somehow still functioning. Doors slide open, and he eases the bucket in. Landing, he eases into his chair for a minute and lets out a sigh of relief. As the bulkhead closes behind you, he turns to you and says, Good luck in there. See if you can find anything worth salvaging. If you can get any information on what happened, anything. I'm gonna stay by the Rusty and try to get things fixed.
Okay.
Roger that.
Alright. If you need anything, just give us a ring. We'll keep an eye out for it.
If you need extra ammunition, whatnot. And yes, I do have registry for the ammo. I have some back here. As it stands.
Music is gonna take a look at it, since he's not gonna have to worry too much given where we're operating, other than, what could be here is probably not an IRPF officer with a stern glare and handcuffs.
I mean, I imagine if it's still functioning, the security here is probably pretty good. This was a research vessel and cruise liner, so security had to have been pretty tight back in the day.
It was rumored that folks who were in charge of the security protocols here were the same ones that taught TTI how to run their show. But I don't know if I believe that. Half the shit about this ship is either a lie, fabrication, or fantasy.
Do you have a clearance for any weapons that we could borrow?
I've only got my shotgun and a sidearm. That's all I've ever had on this bucket. I was hoping I wouldn't ever need that turret. Hopefully I can repair that too, but first things first, I'm gonna take a look at them engines.
Then I guess, Dr. Lucifer's gonna grab out his flashlight and just, say, to the others, let's at least find the stuff we need salvage to get the hell out of here.
Don't have any shipbreaking experience, but at least I can keep the rest of you somewhat safe while you work. He kind of half-heartedly grins and says, have more than a little bit of experience doing zero-G rescue, so, well, this should feel like home.
As you
good, so we have that
disembark,
covered.
you find yourselves in a hangar. It's a fucking mess. Parts, exposed cables, wires. It's all over the place. However, something that your suits chirp about is the fact that there's breathable oxygen.
Oh, that's a
Oh, good.
surprise.
Atmo's working? Interesting. Doubt there's survivors,
not
but... Side note, Mr. Guide, I cannot control my token.
Oh, right. I need to
I
fix
was-
that.
Yep.
I was gonna add my wounds, readiness, and focus to my token.
Yeah. Hang on. Oh dear.
Just give him a sec. I mean, we're not going to need to move him while we talk and stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay,
I
you
just
said you've done your-
wanted that to. I just wanted to put that out there before we get into combat and need it.
Or before we need to explore and need it. Yeah, sure, that's fine. But I'm just going to mention, I'm glad that we have somebody with experience in zero-G rescue. I have, well, not rescue. Still zero-G experience. Hopefully we don't need it.
I do have a point shift conflict, so
I can literally pull an entire, emergency kit out of hammer space once per arc, so...
Right then. Well, here you are. And you should be able to move now.
Yep.
It's... But... Is...
What was that? You cut off.
A map filled with all kinds of odds and ends and things that really look like somebody should have been fixing this thing. But then again, who's been around?
Does it look like... Is there any specific signs of damage? Gunshot marks? Anything like that? Explosives?
Well, in order to get a good gist of everything, I'm going to need a body perceive from everyone.
Okay.
Difficulty?
Depends on what you're looking for.
Normally 2.
So, if you're doing a general search of the area, it's going to be 2. If you're doing something else, it's going to be a little bit more complex.
Okay, then. I'll just stick to a general search for now.
Yeah, I'll stick to a general search. My body perceive sucks.
I'll do a standard search.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything. So I'm keeping it at just looking around, which means I should get a double simplify on this. Oh, that's 2d8, not 2d10. Don't want to be a little too optimistic. Oh, wait, let me check something. Right, no, there was a saves. Okay. No, wait, that's wrong. Ah, damn it. Sorry, I rolled the wrong dice. Oh, with double simplify it would have been 2d10s. I'm so stupid. There.
That is okay.
That is much
All
better.
right. Between Dr. Lucifer and Cecily, the two of you discover a few things. 1. To the north is a door. But it looks like the consoles have been shattered, and while it looks like it's inviting and capable of being opened, you don't think you can access anything through it. The specific console in question looks like it had been shot. South, leading to one of the other hangars. However, sparking cables and electricity arcs over there, preventing your passage. There's also a briefcase close to a... It's visible, but it's slow. You're not sure you want to wander near. The last thing the pair of you notice is that there seems to be a little something tucked behind all those crates in the back side of it. Back side of the hangar. It appears to be a door, but close to one side, you notice something odd. There appears to be a weapon, something, up to the north and top right for the
Where I'm
Ding-dong.
pinging?
correct.
Okay.
There's a weapon there, and there's a briefcase over there. Though the console there has been shot.
I might be able to do something about the console.
Just what the hell happened here?
Well, Cecily is gonna take a look at this first, because it seems the most harmless.
Okay.
Yeah, so Nusik would like to evaluate the potential for fixing the panel, or at least overriding it.
Pierced, but not unliked by the RPF. It's also coated in blood. It's old blood, though. Stained on there from who knows how long. There's also a syringe that's empty in a case. It looks fancy, but whatever was written on the side of it has long since faded away.
Could
The
I,
needle. Go ahead.
like, looking at the needle, can I do a medicine check with my background and projected to see what this could have been?
Not a bad
Yes,
idea.
I will allow that. Go ahead.
So, mind, medicine.
hmm
So,
This is a number 3, though. Be aware.
so I have a 4 in medicine. So I would have plus 4 of this or 2d10.
Do you have a 3 in mind?
No, I'm saying no, only 2 in mind.
Okay, then you're probably not going to be rolling 10s, my friend.
Okay.
Because, like I said, the difficulty is a 3. This isn't a Progenitus-style syringe. But that doesn't necessarily mean you wouldn't recognize some of the telltale things about it.
Yeah. I have a 4 in medicine, so what do I add to that? Plus my medicine bonus? Okay. Alright, I do that. Derp, sorry. Okay, 13.
Not bad.
Alright. You're able to ascertain that this is not a Progenitus at all. This is an ASR. From the ground up. However, getting a closer look, you can tell that this is a sort of syringe, if it's any at all consistent with the kind of protocols you're used to, that one would use to house a cure for some kind of disease. Usually a backup plan for exposure to something that you didn't intend to be exposed to, but you need just in case it might happen.
Hang up. Guys. This is ASR, but the contents inside of the syringe is what's supposed to be a cure for some disease.
Well, it would have been. However, the syringe is empty.
Does it look like it's been used?
It does.
Daxon will voice in character to the doctor.
Seriously, what the hell is going on here?
Okay, so about that door.
Newsig.
Could I
What you-
use an either engineering or a sabotage check to unshoot it? Or at least, get
To unshoot it.
I will remove the bullet and make the bullet magically repair the damage it's done, and then write a formal apology letter. I'm sorry for breaking your stuff. Your friend, the bullet. I would say it's an engineering if you're trying to repair it. It would be a sabotage if you're trying to understand what happened and how you might bypass it.
Well, I don't have any engineering, so we'll go with sabotage.
Okay, so this is going to be a mind perceive sabotage. A difficulty of 2.
Nope.
It been shot up real good. But as you're digging through it, you do learn something. The size of the bullet used.
Oh, that's going to be informative.
This seems like the standard sidearm round, and more than one. As you're fiddling around inside of it, you actually find several bullets encased inside of it. They're malformed by this point, and some of them are a little bit, covered in something. You're not quite sure, but it's mechanical goop.
Uh-oh. Okay. Somebody really did not want us to be able to open this door.
Either that or it was in the line of fire. I'd say
No.
it's more likely that it was intentional, though.
No way. This panel is probably way too small for it to be line of fire. The shots too many, too close together. My gut instinct says somebody did not want this door to be openable. The question is why.
I think the better question is how long ago?
It has been out here since for 10 years.
At least. It's actually been much longer.
At least 10 years.
Is there any way to figure out when this was done?
It would take time. You'd specifically have to test the bullets and everything else around it to get a good idea of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything here is so damaged, and because of the way space works sometimes, things don't necessarily decay the same way they might have. The outside might stay more or less the same for centuries, while the inside kind of rots from itself, especially if it still has air contained in it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, who knows how long the actual ventilation system has been working in here.
So, I'm slowly going towards the briefcase over there. Can I try and search around for something long enough to grab the case, to knock the case over?
I will allow it. Go ahead and roll a body perceive.
If not, you could probably always put on your full spacesuit and hope the gas doesn't penetrate that.
Nope.
Unfortunately, you are unable to find anything that looks like it'd be briefcase retrieving worthy.
The one day you left the ship without your briefcase retrieval device.
You do find a few dead power cells and a monkey wrench. But the monkey wrench's haft has been snapped in half. Go ahead.
I have an idea. I still have hooks, and I also have a cable. I'm just gonna grappling hook it.
What are
Alright.
you, Link?
Hey man, whatever works.
Let's see, because I have, as I try and fumble from my equipment list, I have a hardwire and 2 hooks. So I'll put one hook on the end of the hardwire and try and toss it out and snag the briefcase with it.
That will require an athletics check from you. Difficulty 2.
I think I can actually do that. Okay, so that would be 2d8 plus 1. Hey, I actually succeeded at something.
You snag it. Slowly but surely, you drag the briefcase over. It seems to be locked and rusted out. Something about that gas really messed with the casing. It also stinks something awful. But beyond that, it seems perfectly safe. It's not bubbling, doesn't hurt to touch, it's not warm. It's a regular old briefcase, if not for the, messed up casing around it.
Alright, well, I'll hand the case off to the doctor and since he was curious about it, and re-stow my hook and hardline.
With the briefcase in tow, can I use the broken monkey wrench to break the lock?
Unfortunately, the monkey wrench does not have a handle. It's just the wrench head, mostly. Whatever happened to the handle, it's been shattered. You probably wouldn't get enough leverage with it to break that off.
I have a baton. Provided nobody... Wait, hang on. Doesn't somebody have sabotage?
Yes.
Yeah, but sabotage can pick locks.
Watch, the password's going to be 12345.
Oh, yeah.
From the corner of the room says Sully Quartz, try just opening it first.
Good point.
I try to open it.
It opens easily. As a
Cecily
note-
with the brains.
As a note, the numbers on the side, while faded, do indeed read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Motherfuck.
While they're doing that, I'm going to set up my sniper rifle and emplacement rig on this canister, assuming it's not too high.
That is head height.
Okay, never mind. I'll just stay in
Like,
cover and be ready.
let me give you a good example of what the sizes are here. So the smaller canister is about, the one you're standing in front of would be about head height. That crate is taller than you, and these cargo they're big, like the size of cars. The catwalk above it is still able to clear it easily, though.
Got it. I'm still going to be ready for when we decide to open the door.
Fair enough. I will actually ask, what is on either end of the catwalk?
Well, on one end is a wall, where that door is. To the south, it continues in to the other room. However, the catwalk beyond your current wall, where you can see it, it's missing.
Oh.
It looks like it's been shredded.
So it'd be a good way into the other room, but it'd be a good way into the room, and then you're kind of SOL.
Yeah.
Precisely because
You
of
might
the
be.
exposed cabling and wires and whatnot. The whole of that area just seems like it's a bad idea to go through.
Oh, fair.
It's not that you couldn't, it's just that it doesn't seem to be a whole lot of anything in there. Most of what you can see beyond past it is, well, rubble, scrap. Once you get past a certain point to the catwalk, everything seems to have collapsed in that side. Either whatever ships were in there crashed, blew up, something happened. It hasn't busted the bulkheads, but you're pretty sure that the deck above it probably fell in on top of it. Maybe a truss or something. Hard to tell.
Meanwhile, I go to Cecily with the mysterious weapon.
Inside the briefcase, you find a toggle case. What remains of a broken toggle. And a few other bits and pieces. Some paperwork, but you can't make heads or tail of it at the moment. You'd have to sit down and read it for a good while before you can understand what it's trying to talk about, because it seems that a few things are missing from it. A manila folder, and a few other bits and ends. Also a pair of socks. They've rotted terribly, and they smell super bad.
Who put socks in a briefcase?
They were probably packing for something.
As you lift the socks, they crumble into dust.
Don't
Well,
look,
that solves the sock problem.
don't look at me. I don't wear socks.
All natural peats.
Bird Pete's.
So I'm just going to... Lisa, can you try and repair this toggle? As I show him the broken toggle. And what's up the toggle case?
Sure. Oh, I can give it a look, but no. I gotta be honest with you, I'm better at breaking things.
As an aside, maybe you should take advantage of your NPC.
Oh, right.
Especially if it takes time, yeah.
Yeah. Wes?
Yeah, what is it? He looks up from inside of the engine's turbine. You're not sure how safe that is, but he's covered in grease and doesn't look happy to be interrupted.
As I kind of go up to him, I just hand him over the broken toggle and toggle case.
Well, shit, you found something. Alright, I'll get on that as soon as I get what repairs I can. If you guys happen to find any, well, whole power conduits, I'll send you a laundry list.
Got it.
I
We'll keep an eye
kind
out.
of show him the like that power cells, something like this.
If you can find one that's charged, we're gonna need it. I can use that to jump start it, just in case. That should keep us going. Even if I can't fully repair this engine, it will at least have the other side going. We'll be a little lopsided, but we'll be flight worthy. It would be enough to get us home.
All right.
Well, sounds like it's time to go deeper into the belly of the beast.
Alright. Well, Nusig, beyond that crate, it's just enough room to squeeze past, but there's an open door there.
Sorry to interrupt, but the weapon thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting to take a look at that.
Oh, okay. Yes, sorry. So, the baton. It's an older model, but it's very clearly IRPF make. It's the sort of thing that you don't necessarily give to your regular beat cop, but more someone you have as shipboard security. Less metal, more rubber. It's weighted, but it's specifically not designed to cut through things. More for bashing and whatnot. It'll still do about the same damage to a vector, but it'll do significantly less damage to machinery, which is the whole point of the design.
Mm-hmm.
This one's, well, cracked, faded, blood-stained, bent in one place, but it's not beyond unusable. You're just not sure how reliable you'd consider it.
Honestly,
Well,
more tempted to beg it for evidence.
Definitely was something bad going on here. And yeah, that's a good idea.
As
Worst
you move
case
to bag it... Oh, guys, go ahead.
I was gonna say, worst case scenario, you have a backup weapon.
You're not wrong.
It still collapses fairly easily, until it gets to the last little chunk where it's bent a little to one side. You have to force it a bit, but it gets closed. Now closed, now collapsed, it is able to easily be bagged and carried as evidence.
Okay.
Sweet.
You can keep it with you, or you can give it to Wes and he'll put it into the storage.
Probably since it's nearby, give it to Wes.
Yeah,
Are you going to give him the syringe and the box it came in as well?
probably, yeah.
Okay. He looks up at the second interruption, but this time he doesn't seem as angry. He looks down at what you're offering, nods, and stashes it inside of the ship without a word. Then he jumps back into the engine's turbine. You hear some loud muttering and a clank here or two.
Alright then, could we try moving the canisters to widen the gap a bit?
Well, it's pretty heavy. you feel like you could move it if all four of you did, but there is enough space to squeeze past and get through to the door. Once beyond that initial couple canisters, it's actually fairly open. It's just the sides make it next to impossible, and the larger cargo containers seem essentially impossible for you to move. There's probably a forklift for that, but it's not in here.
They'll probably just all of us kind of like walking through to that door at some point. While I'm just going to read through the documents from the briefcase.
So we could probably just climb over these crates if we wanted to get through this door.
Just a side note, have we actually tried to check inside the crates yet?
No, not that I know of.
Shouldn't we, like, do that maybe? Just in case, before we clean the room?
If we can get them open.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea.
As you move to attempt to open the crate, something you find out very rapidly. These larger ones are the kind that you have to have some kind of key entry in. You have to know the combination in order to open them. They're heavy duty for the locks, the doors. These are very clearly the kind that are meant that if they get dumped in the middle of space, nobody's going to get into them unless someone was meant to.
Could I try doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
If you really want to.
I'll try it.
You enter in the numbers on the keypad. It doesn't react. It doesn't even beep. You take a second look at the keypad and you realize it's dead.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, did we even try to make sure that they're still locked? I don't think we actually tried the doors.
You attempt to pull it open. It stays shut tight.
There we go.
Whatever's in there, if you really, really wanted it, you'd probably have to bust it open some way.
Yep. We'll
Yeah.
deal with it later. In the
We
meantime,
don't have time for that.
Reese, I do not recommend you travel in the front.
I'm just kind of reading through the documents, like, I know. Squeeze back then.
So first, since you said the door's open, I'm going to try and peek through the crack and see if I can spot anything. Failing that, I'll use the scope on my weapon to try and see a little bit further.
It looks like the door leads to a little elevator. It's a little hard to make out because the lighting in that small alcove isn't exactly great. But it looks like it's a lift of some kind. The sort that doesn't go straight up and down, but rather diagonally.
Okay, so it's like a freight, freight transport sort of thing.
Looks like it. You want to take point?
Sure.
Alright, I'll take the rear.
Is it a check to squeeze through the gap?
No.
No, there is no... It's just... let me put it this way. Considered difficult...
You're breaking up, Rage.
It's not hard annoying. Yep. You up on the elevator. It's somehow still alive. It chutters along, happy to apparently to do. At least that's what it sounds like. Then again, it's an elevator. It doesn't exactly have feelings. One.
You're cutting out like every other word, Rage.
That's because my internet's shit.
Oh. This place is big.
Far left.
Okay, thank you, because I could not find me.
Very big, and I don't spot very much cover.
What is this place?
Looks like a lobby.
Hang on while I get your tokens ready.
Some sort
Sorry.
of atrium.
Oh, Rage, if you want to shortcut it, you can just copy our tokens over from the previous map.
I know, but my computer's... The internet's being slow enough that it's not reacting in time for it to actually to copy it over.
Right.
It's like, oh, hey, by the way, that thing that you just tried to do, no, you didn't do it. I love how every time session time comes around, that happens. I'm getting really frustrated by it, because every other day of the week, it's fine. But as soon as Saturday comes, screw rage!
No.
I don't like it. It gives me the frustration. Right then. As you disembark from the lift, you find yourselves in a massive room. There's a ramp leading to a fountain. The fountain is working, kind of. There's water, yes, but only a few of the spouts are actually functioning. Large light set into the floor on either side illuminate this, and you can see without the aid of a flashlight.
With the aid of a flashlight?
Without.
Without.
Out.
Without.
Oh, without. Yeah, I have my flashlight on.
Well, this is certainly impressive.
Reminds me of some of my old
As you
postings.
approach
As we all approach the
fountain, you hear a voice. And a hologram appears just before the fountain. It's a canid Vector, dressed in a nice suit. He has a charming smile. He very much looks like what you would consider the classic business dog. Well, welcome to the Van Bruin. Thank you for flying with us. I am Maximilian Flywell. Call me Max. He gives you an overly cheesy wink. If you have any questions or concerns, just direct them to me. I'll be able to help you.
Daxon kind of raises his eyebrows and shakes his head. All right.
Well, let's give this a try. Ship status report, please.
I'm sorry. I'm not that kind of AI. I am the concierge.
Oh,
My job is you passengers have a wonderful time aboard the Van Buren. Van Bruin?
Daxon kind of raises an eyebrow and scratches his chin. If we had any sort of technical complaints, where would we contact engineering AI?
AI is down below decks. He goes by the name of Wrench. Not a talkative sort. Normal passengers should not direct their complaints to Wrench, of course. He's far too busy. Rather, you should direct it towards personnel. They are a bit more personable.
Daxon's going to do a long shot here. Where's the closest personnel that we can talk to?
Of course. Allow me to page them up to the front area. If you would please go up the ramp and through the security scanning gate, they will meet you presently.
Perchance, what is the security scanning gate searching for?
Why, illegal for firearms and other things not accredited for standard passengers. It's all normal protocol, nothing to worry about.
I'm a registered IRPF officer. Is there a security station that I can check my status at?
Of her. That would be her of the main hall.
Very well.
Also, the captain at your earliest convenience.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Dexon realizes that he's thanking a very glitchy and not sentient computer and promptly frowns and turns to the others and says, well, we should probably get going.
Yeah, how are we going to get
Hey,
past
Lucifer, don't wander off!
Yeah, I like how it's like, hey, Daxon should take point, and Lucifer's like, I'm halfway across the hall!
Or I'm going through the narrow one-person part lane. Yeah. No, but, so Nusic's going to ask Daxon, how do you think we're going to get my stuff past that scanner?
You do have a license for that rifle, do you?
Daxon ignores the question and just shrugs and says, I don't know. Go around it. I'm assuming the scanner is this giant glowing thing in the middle of the...
Correct.
Okay. And the gold wall here, is it floor to ceiling?
It's a wall.
How tall? Like,
It goes from the ceiling to the floor. You can't fit it. You can kind of get glimpses as you get. Remember, this whole area that leads with a nice little balcony entryway and the pleasant little. Everything's a little not quite as nice as it used to be. And in its heyday, it was probably.
Okay.
I'm just going to say it. Rage's internet problems really sell a glitching AI.
Yeah, they make the rest a bit inconvenient, though.
Yeah, true.
Daxon is actually going to approach the security gate.
Alright, and then we'll use you as a test course to see how worried the rest of us need to be.
I mean...
You feel somehow comforted by the fact that the hologram of Maximilian.
He's just following
walking
us.
at look alongside you as if he's escorting you. You know, like any good concierge would do. By the occasional flicker of his times, his complete disappearance a few more feet ahead.
Daxon hasn't dealt with a lot of AI, so he's having a hard time not anthropomorphizing the cheap computer.
Well, see, that's just the thing. Maximilian, despite his glitchiness, does seem exceedingly Vector-like in his behaviors. Yeah, sure, he's stuttering and his image is flickering, but the motions, the pacing of the conversation, if it wasn't for the weird distortions that are clearly because of some sort of decay in his programming or something, it seemed perturbingly like a real living being.
Hey, Max.
Yes,
What exactly are your specifications, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm glad you asked. I am the concierge, but also one of the main AI over the entertainment and living quarters deck, where we currently are. I am highly advanced, one of the top of the line ASR AAAI.
How many other AI are aboard the ship? At least as far as the main executive level.
Well, there's me. Then there's a few sub-AI on the entertainment deck here. There's also Wrench down below in engineering. We also have a Ace. Specifically speaking, we have Maria. Maria is the research and medical deck AI. And then we have Sentinel. He is the security AI. He's the quiet sort. Does not like to speak with most people except for the crew. It fits him though. He's the silent, strong type.
Definitely need to talk to him.
Definitely.
You sure about that?
If I might, you might want to speak to Bob. He's in charge of the cafe and kitchen. Or, if you're interested in a different kind of entertainment, go see Pips at the casino.
Keep it in mind. Thanks. Daxon's going to take a look at the security scanner. What sort of setup is this?
A broken one.
Oh,
The lights are flashing. It looks like it's working, but you can very clearly tell by the readouts and the computers that are visible from where you're at, it's broken.
okay.
Hasn't processed anything in a long time. It's little more than a flashing light now.
Daxon is going to step through experimentally because I'm only carrying like a shield and baton. I'm not actually carrying any firearms, so I'll be the guinea pig or guineaing.
No alarm. Nothing except for, the blue light beam as you pass through. Beyond that, nothing. A flicker. But much like its corresponding AI, it doesn't seem to be working all that well anymore.
Okay.
Alright. I would go next.
Sure.
I mean, there's no reason we have to go one at a time.
Call it paranoia.
Max waves to you. Thank you for, once again, Van. Say hello to... I'll be returning back to my post. Post. Just
Poor
shout
Max.
if you need anything.
We know there's the AI here. There's obviously malfunctioning.
Yeah, but that's kind of what happens over time as they degrade. But that's pretty serious.
Out of curiosity, what's this cool glowy thing?
It's a video screen. You see advertisements for all kinds of entertainment, like singing and singing contest, the casino, movies. Apparently, at one point, this had some kind of theater.
Huh.
Alrighty.
It's a shame this place is as it is right now. Would have been a great place to go on leave.
All right, how should we sweep the room, officer?
What's this area up here to the north?
To the north,
Yeah.
That looks like some kind of office. You're not quite sure.
Sounds
All
like
right.
a good place to start.
Yeah, good place to start. Just start sweeping the perimeter. We're looking for anything with decent data access beyond here's the attractions, so anything systems level. We're also looking for security offices, equipment, and engineering
cells.
access. Exactly. That's why I want engineering access. I figure some crew member probably left key cards or something lying around. As Daxon starts wandering off to the office up here, he's muttering to himself about foolish crew members that leave their passwords on sticky notes and their key cards in their desk drawer.
Well,
Used to hate it when they did that. Now I'm hoping for it.
as you enter the office, you recognize it now. It's a reception office. For processing new passengers, people who haven't had their key cards or rooms assigned, stuff like that. You also notice that there's stacks of AR glasses. The kind you see at ASR cities that let you see the digital advertisements and set up your own overlays to give yourself a unique visual representation of the ship or city that you're in.
I'm actually going to take some of those, keeping in mind that we might not be able to see signage and other stuff without them.
Meanwhile, just reading through the documents. Do I find
Dr.
anything
Lucifer, you have found that these are medical reports, specifically about people who have been injured on the ship. They're incomplete, though. You only find a few mundane ones, but then you find one that says something about some kind of sickness. The page is ripped, though, so you don't quite get enough information to go off of. But clearly somebody got ill, and very badly. But what exactly happened afterwards and how they were treated is unknown.
Plague ship. Oh boy. Are there any key cards or any access things in this area?
Well, there seem to be a few passenger IDs lying around. Also, more perturbingly, a skeleton.
Ooh.
It's
Crew
clearly
or
Vector.
passenger?
Well, the jumpsuit and the large VB written on the side tells you this must have been personnel, crew. The skeleton in question looks brittle. However, you can notice that it still has its cybernetic eye inside of its skull. Clearly not powered anymore, but it's there. As well as a few other bits of cyberware installed at various parts of its body. Well, what's left of it anyway.
Blowing out your machine.
Daxon is gonna check the body for anything important. Personal effects, ID, anything.
Well, you find a few things. You find an ID. Either their parents had a terrible naming scheme, or they were punsters. This was Justin Case. He also had a sidearm on him, but it looks like all the ammunition has been spent.
Well, I'll take the sidearm nonetheless.
And then, as you pick up the sidearm, you realize why it's all gone. There's a few bullet markings here or there along the wall, but also there's a single gunshot wound in his skull.
I kind of look over the sickness as it's torn. As I kind of look over to Daxon and say, Apparently someone was ill on the ship. Very ill.
One
What
question.
kind of?
Go ahead, Cecily.
One question about the body. The gunshot wound. Is it on the front of the skull or on the side?
This is a jaw shot. The bullet came out the top of the head. It's a very, very clear. We know what they did.
So yeah, it's self-inflicted. Yeah.
That's what I was going for. Yeah. Also, Cecily is grabbing one of the AR glasses.
Augmented reality.
And holds them to the side of the head and said, let's see if these are new enough so they'll sync up. Doesn't put them on, just holds them to the side of the head and tries to synchronize them with her utility eyes.
It's not a bad idea.
It actually boots up. It takes it a minute or two, but sure enough, you start being able to see a few of the ad left over. Including a few floating signs here or there. They're all very kitschy and cheesy sorts of things. You see Max's smiling face all over the place.
Oh.
And a big, goofy grin and a thumbs up.
Oh, great Ghost in the Machine, I wish I hadn't done that.
Daxon puts on the glasses and turns them on. Just kind of looks around, frowns. This is all a bit too saccharine for him. Nevertheless, there is a certain charm to it. It might grow on him.
In any case, keep your weapons out.
No kidding.
No, I was
Alright,
going
so
for.
I'll take the employee ID card, take the sidearm, take some glasses, put those on.
As a side note, looking at just, you realize he was from the kitchens.
Really?
According to his identification, he was one of the cooks. Real, well, lack of a better word, an artisan in a day and age where nobody cooked by hand. That's what his job was. Real luxury stuff.
So I'd like to go and check out the medical wing.
Well, now that you can have AR glasses, you can see some of the signs.
Just a note, Nusik did not put on the glasses. He would probably prefer not to.
Fair enough. So long as at least some of us can point out stuff, then it should be okay.
Yeah, Doctor doesn't want glasses on there.
Just to the left is a cyber cafe, as the sign so clearly states. Judging by the signage, the casino is through the red. Currently, it's been given the oh-so-clever name of the Straight Shooter. Complete with a legendary Western gunslinger sort of theme. You're still not sure why it's called a Western twist on that planet.
Any bodies or anything of note in the cyber cafe?
The computers are still on. Well, some of them.
Might be worth checking.
Yeah, could see what the last login date was, among other things.
That's not a bad idea. Daxon's crap with computers, so he'll just keep an eye on the lobby and keep an eye out for movement while somebody with operate can suss that out. Excuse me.
Who's the lucky duck who's going to go mess with the ancient computers?
Newsick's going to keep watch because he doesn't get along with computers.
Can pick a lock, can open a door, can't touch a computer.
Not good with computers, I'm afraid.
Unless Reese has something, it doesn't sound like any of us put points into operate.
That's because the person who had computer and hacking skills was the lemur.
Skill Monkey had to leave.
Well, I mean, if we spend a couple days in the cyber cafe with a Neuroplex, Daxon might be able to figure it out.
And it sounds like Arcane's AFK anyway.
I'm back.
Yeah. Okay, do you have operate at all? Arcane?
Nope.
Okay. So, we're gonna have to skip the Cyber Cafe then, unless somebody wants to get a really lucky roll.
What role per se?
Operate. We're checking out the computers.
I'll try and get a crack at it.
I mean, even if you have a boon, that's good enough.
Or just a higher mind dice than 1.
Would like to note I have a fault on operate.
Oops.
Also a fault in operate.
God, we're all terrible at computers.
Well, that's from my race. It was a choice between operate, pilot, and one other thing.
I have a fault. I have
Oh,
a
10.
in stealth.
I blame it on these feathers sticking out of my arms. Makes it difficult to handle stuff.
So I rolled 10 on operate.
Didn't even tell you the difficulty.
Oh.
And you didn't really specify what you were going to try and find either.
So starting over. We need to figure out...
Regardless, 10 wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, we need to figure out when the last login was. We need to figure out and figure out what exactly has been happening on this ship. You know what? Screw it. Daxon is just going to go up to one of the computers and see if there's anything just blatantly obvious on it.
Could I try and at least find the last person who logged in?
Ridge. I think you
Oh,
might be
no.
muted, Rage.
Can you guys...
Yeah, you're just breaking up.
Just give it a sec.
This is why... Like my internet. It always breaks. I need it the most. Okay. Are we good?
Still cutting out every, like, third word, but I heard what you said for what it's worth.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best we're going to be able to do for now.
Here, I got.
Okay. Someone named Barbara.
Like to set up.
Alright, so whoever's using the computer is now Barbara, and it's Barbara's job to figure out what the heck is going on.
I never really was much of a Barbara.
The last thing she was searching before the stolen connection broke down was how to disinfect wounds.
Oh, that's really not good.
Little ominous, yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty ominous.
I mean, right there we know that there were injuries continuing up until probably the very end, and that medical staff was unavailable or unhelpful.
Probably due to them being out of contact with any progenitus or other aid teams.
Or more than that, it also means the medical AI might not be fully operational.
Maybe.
We might want to go find Maria.
Let's at least find her and get some answers.
Maybe. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, when was this search placed on the computer? Like, how long ago?
Well, judging by the time period that this was supposed to be missing,
Mm-hmm.
within a few days of it going missing, roughly speaking.
Okay.
Alright, well, that's my vote, is to try and find the medical wing. Anyone else got any suggestions?
I'm with you on the medical wing too.
Security.
Security. Security is going to have incident reports, and it's going to have, well, probably going to have access to more parts of the ship.
And also possibly a map.
Exactly. We need information, and we need gear before we move on to anything else.
I mean, a map we should be able to get here, at least a map that passengers would be expected to have.
Yeah.
On top of that, I'm just more concerned about, well, there's a chance security might not be working either.
But there's a chance that medical is not working.
Right, but if the medical isn't working, what's the worst that could really happen?
I would like to remind somebody that this was also a research vessel.
Yeah. The reason I prefer to go to security over medical first, like I'm saying we should go to medical because there's going to be, there might be something there that we need. But the reason I want to go to security first is I want to make sure that we aren't walking into any sort of like quarantine situation, and we aren't walking into an area that we basically want security key cards so that as we're wandering around, we can actually unlock things as we go instead of just bumping into walls and having to turn around.
Noted, but if we're going to do that, I suggest we get registered as passengers. The last thing we want is have security think we're a hostile threat.
That isn't a bad idea, actually. At least until we can get security cards.
As an aside, there should be in each of your journals the Van Bruin as a note, so that you can keep track of all the names and things.
Oh.
Yep.
Mhm.
So anybody can edit that and type in the names and descriptions and things and what your goals and stuff are. Just that way you can keep an in-game track of where you're going and what you're wanting to do. That way we don't have to wonder about it the next session.
I'm also keeping notes on a Google Doc as well.
Smart boy. Now then, you said you wanted to go to security in the medical wing. Well, first you need a map.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to security for.
Well, we can get a map
Well-
here, probably. Sorry.
Maybe you could ask an oh-so-helpful AI where you get those.
I don't want to.
I don't want to talk to the robot man. He's weird.
Well, at least his name isn't Freddy.
That's a point.
Max?
Yeah, I guess go talk to Max.
That's odd. Normally the summoning probably would have worked. Alright then, we'll do 2 groups then. 2 people can go talk to Max and get an idea of what they need, and the other 2 can get us all registered with passenger IDs.
I mean, that's why we want to talk to... That's one of the things we could ask Max about. I'm assuming just calling Max's name doesn't work, Rage. Rage?
God. Seeing type it out.
Rapidly, Max appears. Just a few feet away from Daxon.
Daxon tries not to jump.
Distance.
Okay.
Yes, passenger? How may I be of assistance?
We were looking to finalize our registration and get a map.
Ah, a complimentary map of the Van Bruin. Of course. As you can see, the registration office is just behind you, the left of the Cyber Cafe.
Hmm.
If you'll go in there, the attendant will help you. If they are not available, there is a process on the table with which you can register your ticket number and passenger status.
Very well. I overheard a passenger who misplaced their ticket. They were verified by security, but if they misplaced their ticket number, is there a form to fill out to get that rectified?
In that case, a temporary passenger registration number will be assigned to you. There is a process for that as well. If you'll choose that option, I'm sure that we'll be able to get you sorted out and have your tickets properly processed in due time. We apologize for the inconvenience.
It's quite all right, Max. Thank you.
Happy to.
I guess with that, we'll go get registered.
Going room with Justin's body in there is still, but sure enough, like Max said, there's a automated process, temporary registration number. Apparently, the amenities are standard, but it's only active for a few days. In your case, you probably won't need a regular registration.
Okay.
Probably don't want to be here for more than a few days, if that.
Yeah. Although of all the places to be stranded, at least it's a luxury place. Full of dead people.
Was a luxury place, still full of dead people.
He has a point.
Why do nice things have to be ruined?
Because it's your age.
Wow.
Don't blame me. It's not my fault the universe is a dickhole.
Shooting the messenger, that's low.
Actually, Newsig's been looking at Justin a little bit, and a thought sparked into his head that he wanted to ask, because he's not familiar with the tech. Would the eye have a built-in storage?
Not necessarily.
Depend on the model, but most of the time, no.
Okay, said most of the time, as if encouraging me to try and investigate.
Well, the thing is, if it's just an artificial eye because he lost his original one, then no. If it's a utility eye, like mine, then it might have. Or might you? If you have those, you usually have both eyes replaced.
I'm still going to take a closer look and try and figure that out, because that could be very useful information.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing, because a storage, some sort of solid-state storage would be pretty distinctive.
What you're gonna need to do for that is an engineering mind perceive. Or body perceive, excuse me.
Damn it. Okay, what difficulty?
It's a 1. It's pretty obvious to tell the difference between a regular utility eye, a cybernetic eye, and one that actually has a solid state save.
Hmm.
Ugh.
I'm actually half decent at mind perceive, so do you mind if I roll?
No, he said body
Yeah.
perceive.
It's a body perceive, not a mind.
Oh, never mind.
Because you're physically looking to see the differences.
Yep. Yeah, I have mind perceive.
So do I, that's why I was, like, sad. Well, don't have me be the only one.
I mean, I can roll a d6, d8.
Wait, you have 0 in body perceive?
Oh, no, sorry. No, it would be 2d8. Blah. Sorry, I thought it was difficulty 2, but you did say difficulty 1, didn't you, Rage?
Correct.
Okay. Even worse. Okay.
I could roll, but I don't want to show off.
Please show off. Anything that can keep us alive is worth doing.
Okay, give me a moment. I need to figure out what I need to actually roll.
Featherhead, your lives are at risk. Don't you sit there and be humble. Do the thing you're good at. All right,
Damn.
Cecily.
Good lord.
I've got a 2 in body perceive and a double simplify on visual checks.
This
Well,
is
simplify-
literally geared straight towards her build. Funny enough.
Mm.
It wasn't intentionally
Or
that way, but
basketball.
hey, it turned out that way. Well, Cecily, you were able to find that. Yeah, this one does have a solid state. It's it's connected down to the actual solid state is in his arm, kind of. The cybernetic in his left arm is connected to his eye.
Mhm.
They were all part of a greater network that went through his whole body. Apparently, he had parts of his bones and nearly every part of him replaced with bits of cybernetics to help functions and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Presumably, you're not for sure certain. Presumably, this might have made him more dexterous, or at least more durable. We have to have seen tell for sure. Yes, you might be able to get information.
Okay, yeah, we might. Well, I say we. Well, maybe Wesley might be able to get something out of this.
We already left him with the toggle on the engines, and it's kind of a far way back. Couldn't you just plug it into, like, your toggle or something?
I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, we got
And-
computers here.
Unfortunately, that's not the kind of solid state it is. It's recoverable, but that's not what it's meant to do.
But it has a connection type of something.
Yeah, through his arm, which
Mhm.
isn't functioning.
So basically, what we'd need is like that'd be like trying to plug somebody's SSD into your phone. You'd need a specialized hookup to do that.
Yep.
So basically, we'll just pocket this as evidence for now, and if we get a moment to return to Wesley, we can.
Or maybe they have a setup in medical. Who knows? Or
It's,
even
it's
security.
kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take it.
Sorry, Justin. We need your eye.
You really got his eye? I wasn't even serious. No? Okay, fine.
Probably have to take the eye and the arm.
Yeah.
Both.
Oh,
little
Okay, Rocket,
gruesome,
whatever.
but yeah.
It's
Anyway.
he's been dead for how many years? He doesn't care.
Yeah.
he's literally a bag of bones.
Yeah. Daxon has some sentimental reservations, but not over much.
Right then. Leaving the registration room.
All right. And did somebody
main-
grab a
Dear
complimentary
doctor, would you
map?
please stop running ahead like that?
Alright, what else do we have in the lobby? We have this area that looks like it's been set on fire. We have the area beyond that.
Ow.
Affordable cybernetics, and it's covered in, like, explosives, or explosion residue.
That could be a good thing or a bad thing.
What that was originally. Everything's whatever ordered the cybernetic to help. I'm sure what happened there.
So it looks like it got breached.
Body. Oh,
Okay, admittedly, all I heard from that ridge was body.
Yep, same here.
Do you think maybe it's the video streaming that's cutting his upload speed?
He's not streaming.
He's not streaming, Tygonus.
Well, no, but he's uploading to Roll20, isn't he?
I mean, that... like,
Dead cog in the middle of Cybernetic Sales 4.
Okay. Actually, something that might be affecting your computer rage is, oh, that's gruesome.
Yeah.
Getting flashbacks from another game, okay.
Like, I am very close to passing out at this point.
I feel like eating a bandwich.
It's a sandwich that plays music from your favorite band every time you
it
take a bite
might
out of it.
be. It might be.
Yeah, try disabling face rig for a second, and let's
I
see if
just
that...
did.
Oh my god, yeah, you're coming through loud and clear.
Yeah, that was what it was.
Okay. Yay, that sucks, but also yay, we figured it out.
That blows. So it's been face rig eating it. Ah, it sucks.
Yep.
Annoying. But okay, I can work with that then.
Yeah.
I just won't have a nicer face for videos. I'm sorry. I
Fun-
tried, everyone.
Funnily enough, the face rig avatar in Roll20 froze in like this really kind of badass, like it looks like the cover of like one of the Thief games.
Good.
It's like hiding his eyes, and he's all like, ugh.
That'll work. Now then, to continue, the cybernetics, the whatever the hell was next door has been blasted to shit and back. It's a scorching slag heap. The machinery that's in there is completely unrecognizable. Next door, the cybernetics isn't too bad. It clearly suffered from fire damage, but the cog, it's very clearly a cog and not just some robot. It's been torn apart.
I forgot that you can move your token around with the arrow keys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool, you can.
Yeah. So this poor cog, what's left of them, is in a blazing scorch mark.
Oh dear.
Anything useful that would have been here at the cybernetics has been burnt away, shattered, or gone.
Is there any crew ID or anything on the cog? Anything left?
No.
Shh. Nothing that is readily apparent, except there does seem to be a wedding band of some sort. It's melted a little bit to the hand, but the hand is more or less intact.
Do cogs have, like, individualized serial numbers on them or anything? Like, the equivalent of DNA? Like, if you find a cog part, can you identify who the cog is?
I don't actually know.
Let me clarify what I'm trying to go for here. If Daxon was to take the hand with the wedding band still attached and bag it as evidence, would he be able to like take it to somewhere and be like, yes, we have confirmed this individual's death and we're able to identify next of kin, etc., etc., etc.?
Actually, I'm gonna say yes, and not because I think cogs are marked with serial numbers, but rather the construction, the dating, all of that would be readily available to people, specifically ASR. And they would have manifests from who was on this ship at that time, and they could look over the cog passengers or personnel, go back and see who matches these chassis and this identifications, blah, 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 and they could viably narrow it down to at least 1 to maybe 3 people.
Yeah, because essentially Daxon is, as much as this is a survival situation, Daxon is also kind of reverting to his training, and he's like, I just found a body. It's part of my job is making sure next of kin is identified and all that, so...
Well, it's functioning, so there's that.
Yeah. So he'll take as many identifying marks as he can off of the dead cog.
Well, there's a few, but not a whole lot. The hand's the only thing that's mostly intact. There's a few parts of the legs and other things that are enough that you think anybody with a reasonable understanding of construction would probably be able to get enough to say, this is the chassis, this is probably this person.
Yeah, he'll take records of the legs, and he'll actually bag the hand and wedding band as kind of a, like, hey, that's probably one of the most distinctive things about it. This individual was married.
Just to ask, south of us there appears to be potentially some kind of pool of blue?
Those are elevators.
No,
Okay.
South of us, not southeast, but like southwest.
Yeah, the dark blue.
Oh, that would be graffiti.
Interesting.
You've noticed a few spray-painted things here and there. They are, seem a little bit more recent than everything else.
Do they depict anything in particular?
Some kind of symbols. They're weird. Kind of like a lot of graffiti you see back on Mars or Venus. There's some denotation of whoever was here, but unless you're familiar with it, it's complete gibberish.
Weird.
Alright, just checking. Oh, if we're done here, we should probably move on.
Yeah.
And then south of us with the ring-shaped desk.
That is the security office.
Perfect. Doctor, stop running ahead. FFS.
Not to be quite frank, we're on a time limit here.
We really aren't. Not really.
I mean, the life support systems are still functioning. Doesn't sound like we're gonna have problems with food.
He means for the game.
Oh, well, whatever we don't get done today, we can just pick up next time.
Fair. Alright, yeah, I mean, Daxon's gonna poke around the security office then.
Oh yeah.
This is
Well,
more his speed.
you find a few things, and none of them are comforting. A lot more bodies.
Oh.
At least 2 of which you're completely certain are security. One of them still has a shotgun in their hands.
Oh.
It's very clearly been discharged, as one of the other bodies has what is very clearly missing chunks. Most of them are bones now, and whatever's left there to rot has long since dried out and desiccated.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that these folks were preserved or anything. It's more like because of the sterilization of the area and how the filtration system functions and all that, bacteria didn't really have time to grow on them in the same way that they would in a less sterile environment.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So-
it's better filtered.
The bodies are preserved, but in strange ways. Like they're dried out husks, so you can't really tell what they were originally. Hair has fallen off of wherever skin is remaining. It's kind of like stretched out dinosaur drawings you see today in the real world. They don't really do a whole lot. They just put skin over the dinosaur and say, yeah, that's what it looked like, when clearly that's not what that looks like. You need to put muscle and probably feathers or fur on that damn thing. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. You should take the shotgun.
The shotgun has a couple rounds in it. As you pick up the shotgun, the hands crumble to dust. You see a security identification lanyard around its neck. His name was Willie. It seems Willie was originally from the security forces. He was a rank of a sergeant. This must have been his office. As you can also see a Sergeant W. Pullover. Pullovr. He's a bird. Not unlike Cecily. And a plaque that reads Sergeant W. Pullover on the desk.
Well, Daxon's going to pass the ID tag to Cecily.
Mm-hmm.
We might need this.
Yeah, good idea. That is to say, Cecily, would like to check if the... I'm assuming there's some sort of terminals at the security station.
Mm-hmm.
See if they're still working.
Unfortunately, they were heavily damaged in whatever fight this was.
Ah, damn.
All that you can see is maybe a couple of the hard drives might be intact of some of the more independent computers, but they wouldn't have been able to tell you anything on the network.
Mm-hmm.
They're the kind you keep for specific reports, things like that you only hand off to the boss.
Mm-hmm.
You know the kind. The only one that seems to be working seems to be more of a help desk sort of thing. It has a list of missing persons pulled up on it.
Oh. Long list?
Very long.
I was afraid of that.
Also, there seems to be a note. Not a written one on paper, but something that had been messaged to this terminal.
What
I
does it
opened it
say?
and see.
It reads, Emergency SOS Broadcast. And then the rest of the data is corrupted. There's a few words you can make out here or there. The name Maria, and then the phrase Sentinel down.
Oh.
Something about a captain. It begins with, as you continue to scroll down the message, despite its corruption, a few things still keep up. T-U-Y-U. So, the commanding officer of the ship was a Captain T.U. of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a mention of a Dr. Wayland. But beyond that, you can't really make heads or tails of anything. far too much of it is jumbled up, and words seem to be in the wrong places. Some of them in the wrong languages. Others have been completely replaced by the binary. Whatever happened to this message, it was scrambled to hell and back.
Like, for instance, by maybe a crazy AI or a malfunctioning AI?
Well, potentially a crazy AI, but it also could have been corrupted due to the computer sending it having decay or some other problem. The message itself is fairly recent, within a few years. I mean, yes, it's still a long time, but it's within the decade. That means somebody else, at some point, has been on the ship between the time it went down and now.
I kind of messaged to Wes and tell him everything that we found out so far.
He doesn't respond to the message. He's probably busy.
It's better just to keep posted.
Yeah, just leave a message for him. Alright, anything else at the desk? Anything like in like the reports or like any just personal effects in the desk?
There's a bottle of vodka. It's empty.
Fuck. You got my hopes up. I was gonna spike my thermos.
Yeah, no.
The other body has a sidearm. This
Okay.
seems to have been a Officer Karen Jennings. Her body's preserved much better than poor Willie's. Willie seemed to have been picked clean. But Karen, you can clearly tell who she was. She was some kind of cat. I mean, the fur's gone, but her general body structure and shape is still present.
Okay.
She has a key card on her,
I'll
but
take
no
that.
identification beyond her nameplate on her uniform.
I'll take the key card. Does it say what it's to?
It doesn't say what it's to. It just has a series of barcode and a series of numbers underneath the barcode.
Does it look like a cabin number or like a quarters number?
It doesn't look anything quite like that.
Okay.
It looks more like a more general purpose key card. Maybe it's for security access to a room or a building, something. It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't really have any identifying marks other than a big VB on the other side.
Okay. Alright.
Right.
Alright. I think we ought to call it there for now, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a rather long session.
Not really.
Not really, no.
No, I mean, it was about 2.5 hours? 3?
Yeah, that's not that long.
That said, you made great progress.
Yeah. We got some crew IDs, we got, I guess an inkling of what might be going on, and we got a mystery to solve. And a ship to fix. Got a lot on our plate.
Don't forget to keep those notes. They might save your life.
Yes, I have a note of... I'm taking notes of every crew that we find and what we took off of them.
Good man.
And I have that in my Google Doc. I will share that with you guys once I get it cleaned up a little bit. But thanks for the game. It was fun. Looking forward to this arc.
I'm a little worried. like I'm just glad this is in the morning, because the same relationship Tygon has with spiders I have with zombies.
Giving you zombie inklings.
We don't know if this is zombies.
No,
You
it's
don't
just
know,
that uncanny. I get that feeling of like the empty space that should be filled with people that feels all weird and uncanny and abandoned. Like that is a common trope in zombie stuff, but
Yeah,
no, we don't know. We don't know of any zombies yet.
It not helped by a glitchy, overly friendly, non-entity inhuman thing talking to you and being also polite, orderly.
and unknown, at least by us, sickness.
I'm just saying, you know, the red flags are flying up everywhere, and yeah. I mean, hopefully it's not a thing, but it could
I
be.
mean, it could be.
My red flags came up when I heard the name of the ship.
Yeah. I'm with Tygon on this one. When I heard that name in ASR, I was like, oh no.
Oh, was that in one of the books?
No.
No,
No.
it's
No.
it's a reference. I'm playing with a lot of genre stuff, intentionally goobering, as any of our listeners who caught the Dr. Wayland will know. I'm doing a lot of oh hey, look at the 80s fuckery I'm pulling here.
Do you mind if I go explain the Van Bruin reference, at least as far as I know it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't it a System Shock reference?
It is.
Yeah. So ASR plus System Shock. I'm like, Shodan.
It's
We're gonna run into Shodan cyber zombies. God damn it.
Basically where System Shock 2 takes place is a ship called the Van Braun.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I haven't played those games, and I'm never going to be playing those games, so at least I don't have to worry about spoiling anything.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
And,
I
and
had better hop off here, admittedly.
Yeah.
I have a
15 East.
I have a
Okay.
Yes.
15 XP. Yes. I will note that down.
All right.
Well, thanks for the game, guys.
And I'm going to go spend some of that on boosting my body score.
Yeah. Also, I'm really glad we figured out the jitter problem from Year End Rage.
Yeah, no, that's just frustrating. That it was face rigged this whole time. I thought it was something else, and that's just annoying.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating, but at the same time, it's one of those things where I'm glad it was something we could just turn off. And it does affect presentation a little bit, but it's like, okay. But now